Ladies and gentlemen, joining me on the line as he does every kind of Friday on the show. Okay, this week is a little weird, and I will explain in a second, but ladies and gentlemen, Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com is on the line. Mike is actually on the road right now, driving to... Where are you going today, Mike?
Well, I am going to see a screening of Halloween Ends.
Which that actually comes out this week, correct?
Yes, it will be in theaters and on Peacock Friday, which is really interesting because there's been a whole back and forth in the lead up to this movie about, we wanted to preserve the theatrical experience and we really want this one to go out big, and then like randomly they decided that they were going to do like they did last year, where Halloween Kills was done day and date on Peacock.
Well, that should make it interesting. I don't know. You know what's funny? I don't know if I could tell you if I ever watched a Halloween movie in its entirety.
Well, I do know. What I can say is I was reading some estimates saying that it looks like it'll be a 50 million opener this weekend, which really isn't bad for considering the times we are in right now. I mean, you had a couple weeks ago, you had Smile opening up at like 17 million, although that was a lower budget, I think.
All right. Well, anyways, Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com is on the line. The reason that I said it's going to be kind of weird this week is this beginning piece is on a Wednesday that we're recording. Mike is on his way to see the movie. At some point, we're probably going to record the actual reaction to Halloween Ends or Thrills or whatever the name of it is. But we'll talk about a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and we'll have a fun episode. Plus, there's a chance that Mike might lose it on the New Jersey Turnpike. So
actually, Pennsylvania Turnpike.
Sorry. And
that's okay.
Real quick, how was the move before we get to movies?
The move was stressful, but it's all starting to come together now. It's like I said, the way that things closed and how the time frame that we closed on the house, we had to move things like 1, 2, 3, and it's been a blur. We literally got our stuff out at the last minute, and now I just have to settle with the rental office because they apparently think I owe them money.
Of course they do. They always do. You never get that deposit back.
Story short, the move has treated us well so far, and we're looking forward to continue to nest.
There you go. All right, let's get over to the world of movies and all that. Do we have any other movies to review this week other than Halloween Ends?
I'm not quite sure on Wednesday because Halloween Ends is the big one that I'll be seeing, but I will have to look into what else is crossing the threshold this weekend.
Well, I'm looking it up right now to see what comes out.
Halloween is probably going to take number one, no questions asked.
Yeah.
People, even with there have been some people in the advanced circles sort of whispering that it takes big swings and it may not land with everyone. From what I wouldn't be surprised if Smile is still like number 2.
Okay.
Because that's a movie that has traction. People are talking about it. I think it's already doubled its budget, but I don't know. I don't know how much those viral marketing stunts cost. So they may have some sort of hidden costs that make it still. Hollywood accounting can be very, very iffy. I mean, Men in Black made money after I think 20 years. It finally technically made money on paper.
Oh, really?
It took a while. Like, I don't know where I read that, but it was something that I had read where it, under Hollywood accounting, like Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix lost money.
Oh, weird. That's kind of crazy if you think about it.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. All right. Well, you're on your way to, like we said, to see Halloween Ends, so we'll put the actual reaction to this at the end of the podcast this week. The Curse of Bridge Hollow is out on Netflix this week. Halloween Ends.
Oh, yeah, that's
Marlon Wayans.
Yeah, Marlon Wayans and Priya Ferguson from Stranger Things. Erica. Well, not little, but Erica.
Yeah, okay. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Till is also out this week, and I don't know if I've even, Till. I don't know if I've ever actually heard about this.
That is a dramatic biopic about the lynching of Emmett Till.
Oh, I did. You know what? I did see a trailer for. I apologize. I didn't put the name with the movie. I didn't make that connection.
That's okay. I have not seen it myself, but I'm preparing for a very tough sit.
Just a heart-wrenching story.
It's not a pleasant story. I mean, Emmett Till was lynched as a child because he whistled at a white woman. And then there was it led to his mother having an open wake for everyone to see what it, and apparently, if I remember correctly, the body was, obviously in rough shape because of how they
Yeah.
abused him, and it was a landmark event for like press coverage that really showed the inequities of race in the South at that point.
Yeah. Very, very horrible stuff.
Yeah, and then that's speaking of Till. Another very interesting story was a critic actually mistook Whoopi Goldberg for wearing a fat suit in that movie.
No.
They said in their review, they plain out said that they had thought she was in a fat suit, and then I think this was last weekend because it premiered at the New York Film Festival. So Whoopi Goldberg went on The View and corrected the subject and was like, look, that was not a fat suit. Maybe you should leave that sort of thing out of your review. And she explained, I was reading up on it. She had sciatica, and I think it was painful enough that one of the treatments is steroid injections. And she was actually on steroids for her sciatica while she was making the movie. At least that's the pieces I put together. And that leads to weight gain.
Which is also a part of the news this
and
week.
Why you say that?
The Brendan Fraser movie.
That does tie into that really does tie into the fact that I'm going to let you lead on that one.
Okay. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joining me on the line. As I said, it's a weird episode this week as Mike is on the road to see Halloween Ends, which we'll talk about at the end of this because we'll re-record something a little bit later on. But coming out this weekend so far, Till and The Curse of Bridge Hollow. What we were talking about with the weight gain stuff. Over on Cinemablend's website on the front page, Brendan Fraser addresses criticisms of him wearing a fat suit in the movie Whale.
It's a story that requires a lot of nuance and discussion because, I mean, even when they were announcing that, The Whale was being made, it's based off of a pre-existing play, there were already people saying this isn't exactly the most enlightened or representative story to be telling. And then, of course, some people it eventually did spill out too. Some people think that the film itself is fatphobic, while Brendan Fraser's performance is nuanced and riveting.
Yeah.
And I have what to say on the matter.
Yep, you're breaking up a little bit.
At the same time, I don't.
On the Pennsylvania Turnpike. You there?
Better?
A little bit. It's
Better?
fine. No, we get it this week. Don't worry.
Yeah, but honestly, there's no. I really don't think there's a way that you could ethically have an actor play a 600-pound person. And I know that there may be actors out there that are plus sized, and it's one of those scenarios where it almost feels like there's no winning answer. And I feel as long as the performance was done with empathy and, that the subject is handled to its best extent, then the performance should win out. But then again, you can't always use that argument because some people will say, okay, well then what if we recast, this ethnicity with this one? Would you say that for that? And I would say no. But you can begin to see where this subject gets gray.
It's one of those situations where it does get gray real quick because, how many weeks ago was it that Brendan Fraser, everybody was talking about him and how great he is in this movie and so on and so forth. And here we are a few weeks later. Why weren't you actually 600 pounds for this?
It really is a subject that you look at it, and I want stories of all different body types and walks of life to be told on film.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody to feel like they're not being properly represented, and it's definitely a conversation we're going to have to continue to have.
Yeah.
But it just almost feels like, you have to be very careful with how you approach this sort of thing because some people will get offended, and that's the last thing anybody wants.
Yeah.
No one wants to be ignored or offended, and at the end of the day, we all want to be able to dissect a work based on its critical merit.
Do you think at the beginning of making that movie that they would have ever had this, they thought they were going to have this conversation?
Oh, yes.
Really?
Like I said, when they announced that movie, part of the obviously there was part of the response that's like, oh yeah, Brendan Fraser is in the middle of his, Renaissance. I think that's what they call it, the Renaissance. It's like, yeah, he's coming back, and then, Darren Aronofsky's teaming with him, and so that's kind of cool. But then you read the logline about a 600-pound person, And it's like, this is where things start to get complicated. And again, people more familiar with the source material, if we're saying, this may not be the best story to tell.
Interesting. Yeah, it's a weird one. I never would have, the praise that he was getting a couple weeks ago, I would have never thought that we would be having this conversation down the way.
And I'm sure he'll still be getting praise.
Yeah.
And part of that is also going to be how he handles the backlash and how he addresses that in the press, which, I mean, if how the man has handled himself is any indication, I don't think he's going to go out there and say something insensitive.
According to your guys' article, it says, I'm not a small man. And this is quote, I'm not a small man, and I don't know what the metric is to qualify to play the role. I only know that I had to give as honest as a performance as I can.
That sounds exactly like a Brendan Fraser answer, and I mean that in the best way possible.
Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joining me on the line to talk about movies. As where are we at on the Turnpike right now?
Well, we're about mile marker 344, and it looks like there's mild traffic heading out west through Pennsylvania. The King of Prussia Mall is my destination, so I can see Halloween Ends, which apparently has gotten a mixed to negative review, according to certain people that I've heard responses from. So you may want to buckle in, because the discourse is going to be piping hot. Speaking of piping hot, Raising Cane's chicken is the way to make your any dinner smile, especially that Raising Cane sauce. Use the offer code CANES59 to get half off your meal. No, you can't.
Oh, wow, that was really good.
I tried. Although I will say...
I was just going to say I've never had Raising Cane. We have one here in town. It's not too far, and I've never had it yet. But everybody says it's fantastic.
Dude, it's so good.
I'm going to have to do that.
There was one a couple towns over in Pennsylvania from my wife and I. And during our moving excursion this past weekend, we were looking for the closest Target since we moved in this new neighborhood. And our choices are the Princeton Target or another Target that's in the area. And it's like, look, the Princeton Target's a madhouse. We know what that place is like. Let's try this other one. And on the way, it's like, ooh, Raising Cane's. Oh, we've heard, I think my mother-in-law might have said something that she heard it was good down south. So we're like, yeah, let's go. And it's one of those Chick-fil-A style deals where they've got a drive-through line out the wazoo, probably because they just opened like a week or so ago.
Yeah.
But, they take your order, you pay for your food, the cane sauce is delicious, the chicken is moist. This is not an ad, but if Raising Cane's wants to, build a franchise closer to life, and I'm perfectly fine. They give you Texas toast. They have crinkle fries. It's good. And their lemonade is good, too.
There you go. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com on the line with me right now as we kind of talk about movies this week. This is a fun episode. I'm not going to lie. It's been at times a very deep episode with some of the topics we've covered, but it's been a very fun episode. Let's keep the fun going. We'll kind of wrap up the news unless we have to add something in later. But we finally got a look at Spirited, the Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell project that's finally coming out. Didn't we get our first look kind of last year when they were doing the that TikTok video where they were both singing the song?
That was the first thing I thought of when I saw that this trailer dropped, because for those of you who are unfamiliar or may not remember, around the time they were filming Spirited last year, Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell took part in that TikTok meme where Micah's Grace Kelly was like the chorus was sort of being sung by people in rising tones of voice.
Yeah.
And, it looked like they were clearly having fun with each other on set. We get the trailer today. Yeah, that fun definitely crosses over into the movie. I'm not going to lie. That, or at least into what I've seen in the trailer. I haven't seen the movie yet, but this is from the director and co-writer of the Daddy's Home movies. So that's kind of the Ferrell connection there. And then, he's playing the ghost of Christmas Present, visiting this man played by Ryan Reynolds, who's kind of a modern Scrooge-like figure. And it goes into the sort of family-friendly but snarky hijinks you would expect from the two of them. There's a scene where Will Ferrell is, entering a door mysteriously, and then Ryan Reynolds is like, you think you're going to get me to go through that door? And he's just, walking in and out of the door with, this look on his face.
I like...
And you know what? Like what?
I like the part where he's trying to remember Tiny Tim's name.
Yes.
Small
that
child.
Was great, because it's like,
had
okay,
a crutch.
Micro Mike, Small Size Sam. It's just all the... I would probably bet at least $20, and I'm not making... This is not a legally binding bet right here, but I I'm confident enough that I would maybe bet $20 if that was an improv between the two of them.
Oh, it probably started out as a real thing, and then it was like, okay, we're going to do a bet. He just kind of kept going, and Ryan probably just played along.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, well, like, Ryan is, if it's anything like the experience he had with Free Guy, he is really hands-on when it comes to shaping some of his material. Like, I know when I had got to talk to Sean Levy, the director of Free Guy, like a couple times over the pandemic when they were, when there was the delays and then another round of interviews and then a delay. And, he was talking about how he and Ryan Reynolds would come up with some like crazy last minute ideas. Like the Jeopardy question in Free Guy was like a last minute idea. So they just sent off a small unit to film that and it made the movie. So I wouldn't be surprised if Spirited maybe it's a little more regimented with the script, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's some of that Reynolds improv magic in there. Although what I'm really hoping for is through some way, shape, or form, Hugh Jackman gets a song and a cameo, because this is a musical starring Ryan Reynolds with songs from the guys who did The Greatest Showman. How you do not get at least one appearance of Hugh Jackman in there? I know the man was busy with The Music Man and he was probably working on other films, but how you do not at least get some sort of small moment is I will be sad, but it won't be a deal killer, but I'll be sad.
Well, what's interesting about it, you say that, and I'm looking at the cast for it, and they have the Ghost of Christmas Present and Past listed, but they do not have the Ghost of Christmas Future Present.
Ooh, that's interesting. I mean, who's playing Ghost of Christmas Past?
Sunita Mani? Is that? I apologize if that's not how you say the name, but
I think I saw her in the trailer. Okay, so that's one role I was definitely thinking could be Hugh Jackman. The other might be like the Marley figure that like comes and haunts Ryan Reynolds in the beginning.
Yeah. Like
we see a brief glimpse of that ghost, but nothing really to peg who they are.
Yeah.
Those are the two roles that I was thinking might be Hugh Jackman, but I don't want to take away from the fact that Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell still look like their shenanigans map up really well. The Spirited looks like a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to seeing this movie. It will be on Apple TV Plus November 18th, but it will also be in limited theatrical release on November 11th.
I don't want to buy Apple TV, but I want to see this movie.
See, that is becoming a harder decision to make because so many other platforms are getting these movies that they look good and they're becoming streaming exclusives. I mean, I think it was last week we got the trailer for Jennifer Lopez and Josh Duhamel and Shotgun Wedding, and that was a theatrical movie until Prime bought the rights, and it's going straight to Prime next January. Have you seen that trailer?
I have not yet.
It looks hysterical, and I'm going to give you one particular part that's just so beautiful in this that I'm glad it's in there. Jennifer Coolidge with a submachine gun, just looking like she's Rambo. She looks like she is having so much fun in this, and I love that this woman's career is just through the roof right now.
What was the name of that movie again?
Shotgun Wedding. It's going to be on Prime Video next January, and the whole thing is Jennifer Lopez and Josh Duhamel are getting married. It's a destination wedding. She invites her ex, played by Lenny Kravitz, and things are already kind of awkward. And then out of nowhere, these dudes start taking everyone hostage, and it almost looks like Die Hard meets a rom-com.
Oh, wow. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joining me on the line for possibly the weirdest episode we've ever done. But you know what? I really enjoyed it up to this point. Real quick, did you see who's getting like the Lifetime Christmas movie treatment? What came out this week?
No, what?
Did you see Lindsay Lohan's getting a Christmas movie?
On Netflix.
Oh,
she's already been doing Netflix movies, and now, yeah, she's been working with Netflix for, I think, in the recent history, she's been working with them. And yeah, I have not seen the trailer yet, but I know she's got a new movie coming.
It's like straight off of the Lifetime TV thing where she's rich hotel heiress and she loses her memory and falls for some guy during Christmas time and all that. It looks horrible.
Dude, knock them as we may, that is a very lucrative business right now because it used to just be, Hallmark would kind of do that.
Or Hallmark.
Like
I'm not Lifetime.
Like,
Hallmark. I'm sorry.
well, yeah, but her movie's on Netflix anyway.
Yeah,
but now
either
it's
way.
Hallmark, Lifetime. Now it's Hallmark, Lifetime. I think there's a channel called like Great American Country or Great American Family, where like Candace Cameron Bure went over there because apparently Hallmark's movies are getting too open. And like Netflix got in it. Like cozy holiday romances have become such an industry because it's almost like I'm assuming that they don't cost that much to make. I'm assuming that the stories are pretty quick to come together, and then if you strike it big with one, you can go have at the very least a trilogy. Like I think there was that one with Vanessa Hudgens on Netflix, the Princess Swap or the Princess Switch, and it turns out there's like 3 movies out of that.
I just go back to Lindsay Lohan.
And then,
you think how like she had some talent, and boy, you wonder where she'd be if she wouldn't have got so far into the cocaine. You know?
I can't really comment on that because I don't really know the full story. I don't think any of us really do.
No, but
obviously,
I mean, there's DUIs in there and driving under the, cocaine and, just the...
Yeah, there's obvious stories.
How about this? How about there are turbulent times in Lindsay Lohan's past?
Yes, there definitely have been. And, it's almost like a Shia LaBeouf sort of scenario where it was like, she was on top of the world with that Disney machine and something happened that, kind of mixed things up a little bit.
Yeah.
And caused, turbulent times. And, obviously she's doing well for herself with this. I mean, hey, why not? Netflix clearly is still a huge content provider that's trying to really make a name for themselves in the market and just continue to forge their name in that market. And part of it is, I bet you that movie releases, it's going to be #1 on Netflix that weekend.
Oh, it will be. It
Because
totally will be.
It's like a novelty factor of Lindsay Lohan's doing a Christmas movie. Oh, I haven't heard much from her in a while. I wonder how she's doing. And then people watch it. But also you just have the fans of those movies where it's like, okay, I am making cookies or I'm doing something around the house or I just really want to feel Christmassy tonight. Fine. I'm going to flip this on in the background or flip it on while I watch it. And it's aiming towards a base.
What was the Goldie Hawn movie, Overboard, or with Kurt Russell, where she lost her memory?
Overboard, yeah.
Yeah. It was like Overboard with Lindsay Lohan at Christmas time, is what it looks like.
Now that genuinely sounds like it has some promise.
Oh, that's good. All right.
I am judging this on the merits of these types of movies.
Yeah, I get it. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joins me every week on the show to talk about movies. Okay, there's not going to be any, it's going to happen instantly here, but we'll be back with Mike to talk about Halloween Ends here in a few seconds, like right now. And we're back. You probably didn't miss us because of a fine editing job on my part, but Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com is on the line with me right now. It is the next day. Mike, you saw Halloween Ends last night. How was it?
Yeah, I did, and I'm probably in the minority for this. We'll see how everything shakes out through, the tomatometer and whatnot, but I really liked it. I dug this movie.
Now, you were saying that there's people that how did you say it on the phone when we were talking earlier? You were like, I liked it for all the reasons that some people are going to hate it.
There were some people that basically said that it was the constant thought that's been running around is big swings. This movie takes big swings.
Okay.
And usually that's an indicator of this is a big departure from the norm. It either works or it doesn't. It worked for me. This movie does take a lot of those big swings, and it worked because it's almost like this. If you think of movies as ice cream flavors, this is a Neapolitan because it has slow burn horror, character drama / romance, and then full-on slasher action. And just all 3 of those things mixed together in this, and you're either going to like it or not. I don't know if there's going to be much middle ground for this. I really liked it.
Real quick, if you look at it, this is the 13th movie of the series. Like, you have to change it at some point, right?
Well, 13 movies, but it's like you have at least 3 different continuities, if I remember correctly. Because there's a whole bunch of sequels that happen where certain events are written. There's like there's a whole Halloween movie that doesn't have Michael Myers in it. There's a whole run of movies where it focuses on his niece. And then there's the Rob Zombie reboot. And then there's the Jamie Lee Curtis sequels that came before this. So the Halloween timeline is screwy, and there's not really one template for the series per se, except for the original.
Listen, I get that part of it. The part that weirds me out when people get mad at this kind of stuff, it's like there's been 13 movies. You have to do something different at some point, you know? So like the big swings thing, it's like, okay, what's wrong with that?
Exactly. The franchises need to be allowed to have movies that take big swings and make big choices. Otherwise, you're just going to get the same thing over and over again, Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah. No, exactly. So, all right, cool. So you liked it. Were you on the edge of your seat? Did you buy the whole seat, but you only needed the edge of it?
Yeah, totally. This is just a pulse-pounding thriller. Well, I was hooked into the movie the whole way through, but the thing is, it doesn't start as pure horror. Like, there's a flashback, and then it starts out where there's a first act where there's a lot of stuff a lot of non-horror. Like, you actually get to see Laurie Strode trying to move on from the events of Halloween in 1978 and Halloween 2018.
Okay.
And her and her granddaughter, played by Andy Matichak, are living together after the events of Halloween and Halloween Kills, and they're just trying. The whole end game isn't just for Laurie to kill Michael Myers, because there's this whole section where you see her trying to be a human again, and part of what she has to do is get over and let go of what happened in the past. And Jamie Lee Curtis gets to take this character to places you wouldn't really expect, because I was heading in, it's like, yes, Jamie Lee Curtis is going to kick ass like she did in the first movie. And, you know, this is totally just going to be like, you hear Halloween ends, you think it's just going to be slasher thriller from start to finish. The movie takes time to remind us of who these people are outside of crisis mode. And then when things start to turn sour, you start to feel for them again, like you usually do. And I think it's been a great trilogy. I will admit, I'm not one of those people that grew up with like this deep love for Halloween and like deep knowledge for it. But from where I'm sitting, it works. I think it's great, and it's going to be another one that we'll probably talk about for a while.
Okay. Perfect. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joining me on the line as we jump through time in this week's edition of the show. Real quick, before we do end, and I don't know if there's anything else we need to bring up beforehand, but I do want to jump into this world of Megan. It's a trailer that I don't know when it came out or whatever, but my buddy Ryan wrote me last night, and he goes, "Have you seen anything about Megan on TikTok yet?" And I'm like, no. Tell us a little bit about Megan. What's going on here?
So I think this is going to be one of the trailers that's attached to Halloween Ends Tonight, because it's a Blumhouse movie. Megan is a film about an android that is basically being paired. This young girl, I think she loses her parents, and she goes to live with a relative, played by Allison Williams, who you'd recognize from Get Out.
Yeah.
And she basically like doesn't have many friends. You know, it's the typical tragic circumstances leave a child sort of isolated. And Allison Williams' character happens to be working at a lab that has an android named Megan. And she decides, hey, it'd be really cool if, you know, she could kind of be a test drive for this android and they could be friends. And exactly what you expect to happen. And I don't say that in a bad way, because this still looks really cool, and I'm waiting for it to pull some sort of new moves with this sort of time-worn trope, you know, the friend till the end, like Chucky, or even the new Chucky and Child's Play. I will also say, if I am reading correctly, I just want to look this up real quickly. I believe Megan is written by James Wan, who is behind such movies as, you know, he directed Saw. He also directed Malignant, which is important because the movie is written by Akilah Cooper, who also wrote Malignant. And I really liked Malignant, so I have a feeling that this is going to be some more fun with those two minds put together. And that also leads to the meme that you wanted to talk about on the show.
So in the trailer, there's Megan is dancing at some point. It's much like the Pennywise thing from a couple years ago. They keep putting different music to her dancing, and it is just hilarious, is what it is.
It really is. Before we were talking off air, and then before we started the show, again, I was on Twitter, and someone had dubbed it to toxic.
Yeah.
And it's this scene that this is what highlights the. There's this really interesting thing going on with that character, because I think what happened is they have a physical actor playing this role. It's not just like a whole CGI like android. I think this is an actual person, and then they probably CGI their face with like creepy robot Megan face.
Yeah.
And it's so weird seeing the actual body interact with like that artificial face. And part of it is in that dance scene, because that is that dance. If that dancing is a CG creation, I tip my hat to it, because it looks so human and fluid.
You know what it kind of brings up, and one, just look it up on TikTok or whatever for some of the dance. It is hilarious. But you know what this movie kind of reminds me of? And this is another thing that is actually on TikTok. If you in other YouTube and stuff, but I've seen it a lot on TikTok. It's the thought of humans have a fear of things that look vaguely human, like mannequins, like Megan here, the androids that came out, and there's somebody at some point they put it up, and there's a theory at some point, was there something that looked vaguely human that humans grew this instinctual fear of?
Yeah, that's kind of like I think that's the Uncanny Valley. I think that's what you're talking about.
Is that a movie or?
No, the Uncanny Valley, it's just that theory that the closer, like a CG creation or something artificial, the closer it looks to...
okay.
The closer it gets to looking real, the creepier it is.
Yeah.
I think that's how it goes.
The Uncanny Valley is a term used to describe a relationship between a human-like appearance of a robot object and the emotional response it invokes. That's from Google's. No, I just always thought that was kind of a cool theory that, like, at some point was there something that looked vaguely human that we were all scared of in our past.
Yeah.
But
I mean, that's why creepy dolls work so well.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. So, anyways, I just wanted to bring that up about Megan. If you get a chance, watch the trailer. If you get on, social media at some point, I'm sure you'll see Megan dancing. It's creepy in all the best ways.
True. There is one more thing I want to bring up before we go very quickly.
What's up?
Black Adam screened this week.
Really?
Yeah, Black Adam had its world premiere this week, and there were screenings beforehand. Responses that I'm seeing are mixed to negative. And from what I'm understanding is Dwayne Johnson is obviously, Dwayne Johnson in the movie. But the movie itself is a very mixed bag with people.
I heard that, and I heard the post-credit scene got leaked.
I don't know if it got leaked, but I know the contents of it were basically like, when they had those early screenings...
Wait. So we don't get in trouble here. There are possible spoilers here. We're going to put that out there. Yeah. Possible spoilers.
Yeah.
So listen at your own risk here. That's what we'll put it as.
Yeah, but embargo be damned. Some people were at really early screenings, and they basically found out about a certain appearance and started just chatting about it on Twitter.
Yeah, that's kind of... Let me ask you this, because it is Thursday. What's your embargo right now?
I don't know what the embargo is, because I haven't seen the movie or gotten... I could probably look right now, because I think I have an invite to... Because I wasn't invited to one of the early, Superdog screenings.
Yeah.
Well,
one, I don't want to get you in trouble, but two, if you haven't seen it, it's hard to kind of break you're just going off of news, right?
Yeah, I mean, I have not seen this movie. The earliest I'd be seeing it is Tuesday.
Okay. Well, anyways, should we say what the possible post-credit scene is?
I guess you could. I mean, we put the spoiler warning up. Ladies and gentlemen, just one last warning. We're talking about stuff that's been talked about on the internet. If you don't want to know, have a good weekend.
Exactly. No.
And here we go.
Okay, so the long and short of it is, and I saw one article that it was some of the spoilers were actually leaked by The Rock himself. I haven't read the article. I just saw the headline just a little bit ago. But no, apparently we're going to get more Superman as he's in the post-credit scene of Black Adam. That's what they're saying. I don't know if it's true, but that's what the interwebs are saying right now.
That is exactly what the interweb is saying, and I find it very interesting because, one, I thought that before this, I thought I'd heard that Black Adam was really supposed to be, or at least was being set up as, sort of he was always the arch villain of, like, Shazam.
Yeah.
And then Superman kind of came into the picture later.
Yeah.
But second of all, it's really interesting that Henry Cavill is back as Superman. And I'm wondering to what extent, what made them make that decision. Could we possibly maybe see more of Zack Snyder's version of the Justice League come into play?
Yeah. According, and this is Wikipedia, so take this for what it is. Henry Cavill reprises his role as Clark Kent Superman in an uncredited cameo appearance during the mid-credit scenes. So
yeah, because the whole, I think what everybody was thinking going into, Flashpoint is they're going to reset the universe, they're going to recast everyone. Like, this is obviously going to be their clean slate to try and get rid of the Snyderverse once and for all. But when you keep making decisions like this,
yeah,
it makes me wonder. I really do wonder: are you really done with it, or are you just saying, "Okay, look, we're going to get as many appearances as we can out of these guys before we hit the button"?
Or hear me out on this: is it kind of like again, we're bringing up Marvel once again, but is it like a Marvel thing where you have Patrick Stewart show up in a Doctor Strange, where it's same actor but not the same Professor X we've known? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense. It's a theory that I don't know how much they want to deal with the multiverse right now, but that's definitely a possibility.
Well, that's the thing. Henry, I love him as Superman. Now, am I disappointed that I might not see him as Dr. Doom now? Yeah, a little bit, but I have no problem with him being Superman. I love him in that role.
Oh, me too. I mean, I think Man of Steel is still very underrated, and I even enjoyed Batman versus Superman more with the extended cut, and Zack Snyder's Justice League is something I still behold as a triumph.
I know you do. All right. Well, cool stuff. Well, if you go see Black Adam, I hope you enjoy it, and you kind of saw it coming that it's getting mixed reviews, right?
Yeah, even just looking at the trailers for it, I really didn't get that a warm and fuzzy feeling from it. It just kind of looked like, okay, I guess we'll see.
I got the feeling that Rock wanted to get all ripped up, do a superhero movie, and be the badass of it all, right?
Yeah. And he keeps talking about, the hierarchy of the DC, power structure is going to change and all this other stuff. And I was like, okay.
Really? Because last time I checked, Superman is still the most powerful super creature out there. But what do I know?
Now, last time I checked, you were struggling with putting one universe together. And I don't know if you're going to want to put together a multiverse or be able to put together a multiverse.
Anytime a DC movie comes out, it's like, I'm just not getting my hopes up about this.
It's a crapshoot. You'll see. You see what happens.
So, all right, we'll end it there. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joins me every Friday on the show to talk about movies, or Thursday or Wednesday or whatever it happens to be. Mike, you have a great weekend. Have fun with the house, and we'll see you next week, okay?
Thanks, man. Talk to you later.